Joining me now is Carlin Phillips, attorney for Mimi Ash and others suing over these foreclosure statements. Mr. Phillips, thanks so much for joining us.
When I was a young kid, I had always stuck up for people. I don't know, I always had this something in me that always said, yeah, you have to stick up for people. Probably because where I came from, because we didn't have that much. You know, things weren't handed to us. So I always would take the side of people who needed a champion, so to speak.
There's plenty of lawyers that you will deal with that you can't just have a conversation with them without it seeming like it's a battle. And Carlin's philosophy has always been, you know, you don't need to argue about everything. You can either you'll work and you'll take your respective positions, and he'll be fair, and if you just don't agree, then there's somebody else that's going to decide it. He does not make it personal against the other lawyer. It's personal when he represents somebody to him, but he doesn't take it out on the other lawyer. He does his talking with his skills, and you know, I've seen it where we've gone into cases where it might be a very large firm, nationwide or even international, and the beginning they like to act as if they're more superior because it's a small law firm with a few lawyers, and seen by the end of the case these people acting like they're Carlin's best friend because the case has worked out in Carlin's favor, and they realize that, you know, wow, this guy knew what he was doing.
Here's what it is. At one point in time in my career, I decided there's enough lawyers for banks, insurance companies, multinational conglomerate corporations. They have all the lawyers they want. They have access to as many lawyers as they want. They have all the money in the world to pay those lawyers. So at some point in time, early in my career, I said, listen, I am not representing those types of businesses or those types of clients at all, ever. So I had made the conscious decision that I was going to represent the underdog, the person who really needed a lawyer, the person who had their dreams shattered, their businesses broken, their bodies battered, all of those people I wanted to represent. And let me tell you, it's not easy to represent those people because oftentimes you have very long odds. And oftentimes you have to take all their troubles and just literally heap them on your back and carry those troubles for 2, 3, 4 years through the entire litigation process, knowing the whole time that the other side has resources that could potentially overwhelm you. That they have 200 lawyers in their law firm, and they have all the research and investigation money they need to do whatever they want. So with those odds, crazily, we decided, or I have decided, to just represent, you know, regular people in everyday fights, oftentimes against big companies, insurance companies, banks, and other big corporations.
Carlin came up with the analogy, I think, of me being the Jefferson to his Madison. Historically, what that generally means is that Thomas Jefferson used to be more of an esoteric figure. One of the key founding fathers in our country's development was Thomas Jefferson, but he had a very cerebral, I think, approach to things. And Madison, however, was the opposite. He was the kind of guy that would be the public voice for Jefferson's ideas.
Carlin, on the other hand, I perceive as being sort of the maniacal pit bull that is the backbone of the practice's litigation strength. And whereas I feel Andrew has great social skills and has the ability to communicate with the general populace, I've always looked at Carlin as the individual who is probably the warrior.
I think he understands that when somebody comes through the door and they don't have the, you know, the $300 an hour to pay somebody else, or, you know, that nobody wants to take the case because it's going to be a lot of work and maybe it's going to be a good outcome, maybe it's not. You know, he sees that in people and understands that they don't always have a place to turn to if you aren't going to take them on and take the risk. You know, and sometimes you lose time and money, but, you know, it's you take on the role that you are actually supposed to help people as well. You have to make a living, but you're actually supposed to help people. And I've found Carlin has done that and gets me to do that as well.